Hello, you're watching Half Asian Tarot Queen. I am Elisa, and I'm kind of late, but I'm going to do a reading for the year of 2026. I haven't been doing that many readings lately just because I've been kind of busy, and, but, I've, infrequently been doing them, but I went back and looked at the 2025 reading, which I'll link up here, and it was something like pulling the sword from the stone, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that seemed really aligned with 2025. So I'm just curious what comes out for 2026. I mean, just like right off the bat, what I'm getting is like, you know, in this 2025 reading, it was talking about, you know, King Arthur and like pulling the sword out of the stone, like Excalibur, and then finding out that he has this whole destiny that he was completely unaware of that he now has to deal with, you know. And so it was like a whole paradigm shift, you know. He thought that his life was going one direction, and then all of a sudden, come to find out, that's not what's going to happen, you know. And so, and then he found out actually that he was the heir to the throne, you know. He was the king, and he had been living like on the, you know, like a much more humble existence, we'll just say. So what I'm kind of getting right off the bat is like, you know, just because he found out that he was the heir to the throne doesn't mean that he just pulled the sword out of the stone and he just like walked into the palace and like took over. Like he had to go through this whole, like almost like a test process, you know. Like it wasn't like they were just gonna hand the throne over. Like he had to like kind of defend himself against all this crazy stuff, you know. So yeah, I think there's a reading from like Arthur Legend of the Sword or something, because I'm referencing this movie. It's really awesome. Guy Ritchie did it with you know, King Arthur. So yeah, I'm getting this whole like having to, I mean, go through this process, this testing process of like defending your place in the world sort of energy for 2026. So starting off with that, I'm going with the Mystical Shaman Oracle, and we're going to start there. Oh my gosh. Whoa, starting off with a bang. Okay. Interesting. And we'll see what we get. Wow. I mean, these cards really kind of go along with like what I was saying, you know. Okay, so we have the Mystical Shaman. So this is a person who's sort of like resolved all their inner conflicts, all their inner demons, like so that they're seeing, they've resolved all their distortions. So what they're seeing in the world is like clear, you know, like they are not like out of alignment. So like because of this, because they've done all this work on themselves, they're able to like walk through the world in the state of flow and grace, where everything just like comes to them as they need it, and everything's in alignment, and all is good in the world, you know. So that's the sort of like underlying energy for the year. But we get the Curse, the Gatherer, and the Smoky Mirror. It's interesting. So this Gatherer card is a card of sort of like being provided for, being in alignment, you know. The Gatherer just like flows and like picks up like seeds and berries from the forest, finds what they need, on their way, and they're kind of like also living in like a bit of a state of grace. Um so that it's interesting that both of these cards came out, and like one's more of like a male character and one's a female character. But what's interesting also is that it's flanked by these two cards that are all about distorted perceptions of reality that are like really causing a lot of turmoil. Like this, the curse is a card of like almost like generational trauma. It's like, so for example, would be like a scarcity mindset, like everyone in your family has like believed that, abundance is for other people, like you can't be abundant, like resources are scarce, and like that is the perception of the reality that they like have reinforced, and so you have inherited this mindset, not even knowing that actually there's a completely different experience that you could have in life, if you changed your mindset, and so it's an inherited pattern, so that's kind of what this card speaks to. So like sometimes people will be held back, because they've always lived in this environment and everyone around them has believed this, so like they don't even realize that there is a completely different experience that could be had, And then meanwhile, we also have the smoky mirror, and this is a card of like sort of being in like a hall of mirrors, like distortions, like not seeing things as they are, and this like sort of causing one to like go down the wrong path. So for example, like say someone is like a megalomaniac, like they believe that everything they do is perfect, and they've done nothing wrong. And then if they do something wrong, they'll like project it onto other people so that it's not coming from them, so it's like being in a hall of mirrors, like for example, like walking on eggshells around like an alcoholic, or somebody blaming you for what they're actually doing, but they aren't able to see that it's their own issue, and so they project it, So it's like we have this person who's like living in this state of grace, but they're surrounded by all this drama, And so we have this energy of this person like being in a state of flow, getting what they need, but it's like they're flanked by this, so it's really interesting because it's almost like a battle of the worldviews, which is totally happening in the world right now, It's like, there's like a village and everybody's living in harmony together, everyone is happy, everyone's abundant, in this little village, but then the people in the next village over are super angry and they think it's everybody else's fault, and they've decided that these harmonious people are like getting on their nerves, so they decide to attack, and so this little village of harmonious beings has to defend themselves from being under attack by this, because at the end of the day, they're just trying to live how they believe, which is that what they need will come to them, or they'll find it when they need it, and everything will work out, versus these people who are like at war with themselves and like trying to create this reality, you know? So, yeah, it's really interesting because it's like this year is gonna almost be like a clash of these worldviews that's happening like universally. So that was like really intense. So I'm gonna go to the Curious Cats Tarot, and I'm gonna get some like on the ground perspective on how this year is gonna go and see. Okay. Wow. So, I mean, when I pulled it out, like these 3 cards. So we have this 9 of Cups, which is a card of like abundance, you know, like someone being like independent, like they've sorted out all their stuff, like, you know, it's like this person, like they're like abundant, like they don't need anything, like they're good, you know. And then we have the 4 of Wands, which is a card of stability and like having a solid foundation to build upon. And we have a card of like the Page of Pentacles, which is like almost like a new beginning, you know. So I mean, this is really a positive message, you know. It's like, it's almost like there's gonna be this battle of the worldviews, but ultimately it's like we have builders and we have destroyers, you know. And at the end of the day, after the dust settles from all of this, it's like you either are building something or you're destroying, you know. And when the dust settles from all the destruction, I mean, the builders can just rebuild, you know, but the destroyer, there's nothing left, you know. So it's sort of like the destroyers are gonna like cut everything down to like its basics. It's like back to the basics, but yet what's going to be left is the builders with all the resources so they can just rebuild, you know. Like that's kind of what I'm getting from this. But it seems like there's going to be like this whole drama that happens on the way there. So I'm going to go to the Secret of the Ancestors Oracle. Let's see what we get. Ooh. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy. It's like the same message. Okay, so we have the Monarch, victorious. And then we have the Shadow, trials and tribulations. So yeah, it's like this is going to be a year almost of like a war of these competing worldviews. And at the end of the day, one of them is going to come out ahead. And the other one is going to, it's almost like we're shining a light on the shadow, you know. So all of this stuff that's been hidden is like going to be brought to light. Like something that's happening in the news right now that I think like embodies this, or is the, there's this whole thing about the Epstein files. Like there's all this dark stuff that's happened, and you know, there's been all this investigation to figure out what's been going on, and like there's also been this huge effort to like keep this information from coming out. But at the end of the day, it's gonna come out. Like whatever this is that people are trying to hide, whether it be the Epstein files or something analogous, you know, family secrets, like distortions of reality. It's all coming out. Like, that's kind of what this whole year is like. It's all coming out, and there's going to be like almost like this mushroom cloud of drama that's going to happen because of this. Because, obviously, when things are like deeply hidden in someone's shadow, like nobody wants to confront that or deal with it, but it is going to come out one way or the other. And at the end, it's going to cause like everything's going to get leveled. But at the end of the day, the builders are going to rebuild on the other side of it. Like, that's what I'm kind of getting for this year. So it's like, whoa, that's crazy. Okay, so I'm going to go to, I got this new deck. So last year I ended with the Ancient Stones Oracle. It's very earth. And then now I have the Healing Waters Oracle, which seems appropriate because it's sort of like there's there's gonna be this huge explosion of emotions and like this truth coming out and people not wanting to deal with it, but it is gonna come out. And like all this liquid is gonna flow and all these emotions are gonna come out, and at the end of the day, it's almost like it's like a cleansing, So I'm gonna see what the Healing Waters Oracle says, and we'll end with that. But it looks like it's gonna be a really tumultuous year, but it's gonna lead to a like totally, it's like all this stuff that's been holding people back forever, it's like finally gonna come out in the wash, and we're gonna actually move forward in a lighter way. Oh my gosh, like this is so crazy. Like right as I'm saying this, so this pops out. Birth mysteries. What are you being called to create? And there's like this newborn baby. It's like we're gonna start fresh, So it's like, what are you being called to create? Because like things are gonna open up, so that we can. And this was on the bottom when I took it out, so this seems appropriate. Mother of the salt waters, passion, wild love, open your heart, let love in. So it's like almost like this massive clearing that's gonna have to happen to make room for the new. And that's kind of what this year is about. So like hang on to your hats, because it's gonna be a wild ride, but it's sort of like a necessary step towards the future that we all have to weather. So best of luck. I may or may not be back really soon. I've been pretty busy, so I'm not putting any pressure on myself about when I'm gonna do another reading, but we'll check in soon-ish. Happy New Year.